language is acts of service. I'm literally giving
Yes.
love out
Yes.
all day long
Yes.
through my business. It has 10x'd my ability to give love out. You know, figure out your why, use that, and use your voice and your marketing. You will stand out because people, just like all of your viewers, can sense your guys' authenticity. You can't fake that.
Right.
Hey. Candid Cleaning Conversations. Everybody gather round, it's a celebration that we're still standing. Big up Katrina, she the inspiration. Came up from the bottom, she here with that motivation. Here to teach and inspire, help you aim higher, help you dream bigger, get what you desire. Real recognize, real iron sharp as iron. Let us grow your cleaning business. She ain't playing around, yeah, the queen mean business. Just stick around, get down with a podcast. Hold it down, here we go, foot on the gas. Candid Cleaning Conversations. Hey, hey, hey.
Jeez, every time you talk, it's like I be wanting to like say so many things like to you, but just,
I got all day, so I have no time.
so like just to hit on the subject of what you're saying, you're basically telling everybody how to build their business. You know what I'm saying? And that is so imperative to know how to do. But what apps do you use outside of ZenMaid can you just walk us through that process and what softwares and apps that you use?
Well, and I really appreciated you guys saying, like, you made a short video recently that was like, you don't need a bunch of software. And you don't. I think a lot of people get really willy-nilly and gung-ho with like, oh, like dazzled. And I get, shiny object syndrome really bad too. So it's like, rein that in and pause and think, how is this actually going to like help the business? Right. And so, like I said, so scheduling and all of that kind of like automated reminders and the booking forms on our website, that's all done by ZenMaid. As for payroll, so let me back up. Bookkeeping, QuickBooks Online from day one, because that's what I was familiar with from my family's company. And so we still do that to this day. It's very affordable. I did start with doing their payroll. I had some bad experiences just with their, when I had to call them for issues, not getting the answers I needed. So I did switch to Gusto a couple of years ago, and we've stuck with that. They're very good support, I would say. Okay. So we do Gusto for all of our payroll and kind of like HR stuff. Sign request is like DocuSign, and we use that to get our customer guidelines electronically signed. And prior to Gusto, we would do all of our employee documents electronically signed too. So before we step foot in a facility or a house, customer guidelines are signed to protect yourself. And so that's $8 a month, and DocuSign's like $80. So sign request is what we use for that. MailChimp for email marketing, which again, they got a great free version. So that was something I did from day one, was start gathering those emails literally from day one. And so connecting ZenMaid with Zapier to MailChimp. So Zapier, if you don't know what that is basically a software that connects other softwares. Yes. It's so they can speak to each other, basically. It's like a translator. And so what we have happen is somebody fills out a booking request on our ZenMaid form. That information through Zapier gets put onto our MailChimp mailing list. So I'm not manually having to add those emails. Who's got the time for that, right? And that's not scalable, right? And so I would say using Zapier in a variety of capacities to connect things. And then finally, let's see, I'm sure there's one I'm missing here, but ClickUp, I would say we use that for our kind of CRM. Like ClickUp is like a task management software, almost like I think like Trello or Monday. Yeah, Monday it's very similar to that. And so, you can pick your poison on task management. I actually use that for my own, managing myself kind of way, but we use that for our lead management. And I actually pulled that from Courtney Wisely. I don't know if you know from, she used to work as ZenMaid and now Rescue My Maid service. Huge influencer there. And she had put up years ago in the ZenMaid Mastermind group a video on how she did their lead management in ClickUp. So I just copied that and put that together. So that is how we very closely manage where somebody is in the lead process, and ClickUp is super affordable too. So I'm very so good software absolutely is worth the price. And a lot of these ones, they scale as you go. Gusto's like that too, just like ZenMaid of it scales as you go. So to me, I literally could not live without a scheduling software. And if you are doing things pen and paper or like with Google Calendar, it's just like you're missing out on so many capabilities, and it's just so hard to scale like at this amount of clients and like things that each, like I want every client to feel cared for and that we listen, because the lack of communication, like some of the biggest issues that happen is, okay, client tells you something in the office, that message does not get transmitted to the cleaner, or it only gets transmitted to one cleaner, right? So okay, all of a sudden this cleaner leaves, and she was an expert on Mary's house, and now you send in Sally, and Sally doesn't know what Mary wants. And so every day at the beginning of our, in our group chat, it's the managers put who's working, meaning management, so who they can expect to get a communication from. And then a reminder, add any notes to the client that you would want to have a new person have, so that they can be successful. So we want to be able to send any cleaner in to any house or any commercial facility, and maybe they're not gonna like do 1,000%, but they're at least not gonna get a complaint if it's the fill-in, right? And so that's when I'm talking about scalability, is obviously we want to have the same cleaners on the same houses as much as possible, but that changes, people quit, they get fired or whatever.
Damn near impossible. Things happen. I have to tell my clients that all the time. They're like, I'm going to have the same cleaner, right?
As much as possible.
As much as you possibly can, but she's going to call out. So we have to train someone else in this house. Okay, so take both of these people, love them. Okay, let us know who's doing something wrong, but we have a primary cleaner and we have a backup. That's the way we do it.
Absolutely. Or maybe logistically it's like, well, now I have somebody closer to these houses, I'm going to rearrange the schedule. And so how can you have your cleaners help each other be as successful as possible? And that's where adding those client notes and just having everything they could possibly need to be successful in that. And same with commercial. I love that you guys do the video walkthroughs. Video walkthroughs for commercial is imperative, not only for the bidding process, but for your cleaners to be successful. Because when somebody calls out, and I got a commercial account and I have nobody that's been there before that's available. All right, I have this residential cleaner maybe. She can go to this office building because she's got the checklist and the video walkthrough. She's going to nail it, even though she's, so how can you make it that they are going to be as successful as possible with what you've provided? So that's your job, is to make their job easier, right? They're gonna make you more money then.
I love implementing that. Well, every time we win a new account, we do a video walkthrough. We put the video up inside of our software so that they can see. There's no excuse. You got videos, you got pictures, you got scope of work. Like a 5-year-old should be able to come through here.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I never want somebody in my business to say, I didn't know that I was supposed to do that. Because if they're able to say that and have legitimacy, that's on you. And same with clients too, of like, oh, well, that's not what I expected. Why you get complaints is oftentimes their expectations do not match what you are expecting to do. And, we've had that happen where a husband booked a surprise cleaning. He said he was getting a deep clean for his wife, right? We provided him with the checklist, and she got home and she's like, she was the one who complained, because her expectation of a deep clean, even though we do very deep cleaning, we don't climb on top of ladders or anything like that. So she was expecting like high up windows, dang near the gutters cleaned out. And so is the person who is going to be receiving the services in complete understanding of what that looks like. And so really learning, like every mistake that you made, every bad thing that's happened in my business, like first there's been a silver lining because it's a lesson. It's like, okay, how do we avoid this again? So if you keep having the same problems over again, an alarm should be going off and saying, we need a solution for this. And this is why you got to track this stuff, because otherwise a lot of times you just solve that problem in that day and you're just everything's so chaotic because you're doing it all as the small business owner. You don't pause and say, how can I prevent this for future Stephanie to not have to deal with, right? So take that pause and think. All right, there's a solution. And even if you don't know the solution, Google probably does. ChatGPT sure does. Our fourth manager, or fifth manager, I should say, is Body. Like, all right, we're in that AI every day. Like, how do I do this?
I'm so obsessed with tracking. That is a bar right there. Because if you're lacking in tracking in your cleaning company, then you're not gonna track your finances, and that's like the bread and butter. That was one of my pain points in the beginning, because I come from the employee world where we weren't taught about all these things, right? I love your story, how you said your parents had a business and you were able to, you know, get some insight, you know, financially from what your family did in the past. I hit rock bottom because I came when the money started coming in. What do you do with it?
Yep.
That's where I was stuck at in 2018. I was like, what do I do? First of all, I'm excited because I'm getting paid more money than I've ever made working a job.
Yep.
Like I think my last job paid $10 an hour. And now you're making six figures, and it's like, man, I'm balling right now, right?
Well, and it's like the business is making that.
Right. Had to learn that the hard way. No, the business was balling. You just had a good job.
Yes.
You know, but as you grow as a business owner, and that's why I love the fact that we're coaches now, and I can coach people out of that pain point, because I'm like, yeah, I was there before. No, don't do that. I'm telling you, you got to separate your business accounts.
Yes.
You got to do it like this, because you're going to get in some trouble if you don't do it this way.
Yeah,
you
learn
got to keep up
from others' mistakes, and, you know, like, and the books. Okay, if you're listening to a crime podcast while you're cleaning, start listening to books. Like, do it right now, because before I opened, Profit First and The E-Myth, those were the books I just sucked in that information, did Profit First from day one, which, if you're not familiar, it's basically a money management strategy, basically, or framework, where it forces you to budget. It forces you to pay yourself from day one. You're saving for taxes. You're saving for, you know, your rainy day fund. And like when you talk about, you know, I was just listening to one where you were saving up for your Christmas party. It's like, yes, how are we able to do those Christmas in July bonuses? Big Christmas bonuses, nice, fun Christmas party, all sorts of stuff. And, you know, appreciation, for example, like an appreciation thing we do for our staff is once a month, we write one of them a handwritten note saying how much we appreciate their worth. And either they are getting a raise or they're getting $100 bill, a physical $100 bill in the mail, because effort, and there's something very visceral about $100 bill. You know, I can give you whatever 520s, but it's not the same, right? And so all of these things are accounted for, and I don't have to worry if the money's going to be there, because we are saving all year. 2% is going into business savings every time. So all the money comes into the revenue account, and then we divvy it up. All right. So I know Stephanie's getting 8 to 10%, right? And, you know, business savings is 2, taxes is this, OPEX is this. And it's just like, it really just helps wrangle this problem in.
I love it. Do you use a software to separate everything? I know one of my students says she uses a software called Nova. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Not familiar
but
with
it automatically does the separation for you when the money hits your bank account.
Oh, okay.
So I thought that was
cool. That is cool. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, every Tuesday I just go into we have, you know, our 5, it's in one bank. I have 5 bank accounts. So all the income is flowing into revenue. I just manually make the transfer. Honestly, I like it. It feels good. And so that's why I do it. And it's like, so it feels really good to be like, oh, money, like it's just very comforting. And, you know, people get so overwhelmed by the concept of tracking, but my tracking sheet, it is our security blanket. It's the lifeblood of the business, because it tells me exactly what's going on. Because until you rip that Band-Aid off and see what's happening in reality, not what you think, what is happening, like how, you know, how much are you making each week? Like what did you spend? How many leads came in? How many did you close? Why did they close? Why didn't they close? You know, and making that context, like how many appointments, how many Google reviews did you get? How many Facebook reviews did you get? How many pictures did you add onto your Google My Business? Like these are all things we track. And I know it sounds overwhelming, but you know, my favorite saying is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Like do one thing, get good at tracking what you're bringing each week, what you're spending each week. Okay, cool. How many Google reviews you got? Really, lead management is a huge thing, because so many people just let leads float off into the abyss. It's like, oh, you try to call them once. You try to call them once? Yeah. Do you answer the phone when somebody calls once? No.
I mean, they're always like, man, I'm not cold calling anymore. We always ask them, what?
How many
How
times?
many
Yep.
people
Yeah.
did you call?
Yep.
How many flyers did you pass out? How many people did you interview before you start crying and whining?
Yeah,
about
you didn't
something?
try hard enough. And I know
Yeah.
like it's hard work. And another book recommendation, 100%, especially for getting commercial accounts, is The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And he has something called pig-headed discipline. You got to have pig-headed discipline to do it over and over. It is boring as hell to do a business. It's not like the sexy stuff, you know, okay, $1.5 million, all this stuff, right? Like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that comes on later, but it's like, how do we get there? It's really effing boring.
Yeah.
It's really, really boring.
Oh, man,
and just completely plodding along and doing the things over and over again, because you know it'll work over time, and it compounds on each other. It's like compound interest, you know, saving for retirement. You don't see it, but it's just like you're slowly adding and adding until all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, we don't have to spend any on marketing, or the leads just flow in. So yeah, when it comes to strategy for, you know, you're saying cold calling, one of the strategies he suggests that we have done for a long time now, and it works really well for commercial, is Dream 100 drop-offs. And so have you heard of the Dream 100?
Dream 100 care to share?
Yeah, so the Dream 100 process is literally making a list of your Dream 100, let's use commercial accounts that you want to get. Like if you got these guys, you'd be golden, right? Like, so whatever that ideal is for you, you know, if it's the size of an account or whatever. For us, it's a lot more about proximity to other accounts we have, because then we can stack it, you know, within that clearance schedule. So we have the spreadsheet, and then you literally you can cold call, you can email them, and what I would suggest is doing donut drop-offs. And I had my grandma doing this. Yes. So I take our sales sheet, which we call our one sheet, on nice paper. You take a box of donuts or whatever sweet treat, and you walk in and you introduce yourself and you start building that rapport. And it's not like people's guards go down when you bring them food. And this is why I had my grandma do it, because who's going to say to a grandma, likely, my grandma's a sales lady. She can sell the pant, you know, that's like personality very similar to mine. And so, you know, if you're not extroverted, you need to be able to like at least be able to connect with people, you know, because obviously I would assume you guys are pretty extroverted, because I certainly am. And so,
actually,
really, well, you guys can but that's a perfect example. You're turning it on, you know, you need, it's literally game face, go in there and like, and go in, introduce yourself. Hey, just want to let you know, Serene Clean, we're a cleaning company in town. Just wanted to see, how are you guys handling your cleaning here? Start gathering that information. And just because you do it once doesn't mean they're all of a sudden going to give you that walkthrough. But the point is, when they are finally fed up with however they're doing their cleaning now, their service provider sucks, they're doing it internally, they have to fire their janitor or what have you. When they finally reach that breaking point, you need to be the one top. Who is that lady who dropped us off donuts? Oh, here's that sales sheet. And like, we have gotten some huge accounts by doing this, because I mean, the guy, when he finally did the walkthrough, it's for a bow manufacturing, like hunting bow manufacturing facility. It's a 5-day a week, 4 hours a day. And they were like, you know, your flyer sat on my desk for 6 months until we were ready. You know, and because you dropped off those donuts again and again, you know, once a month, coming in, saying hi, it just like, that's what we're talking about, doing it again and again. And it totally pays off. And the nice thing is, you can just do it. You don't need to dedicate a day wherever you're cleaning. Like, you know, if you're cleaning a couple houses or a business, what's around there? Just try to hit them, you know, and make your face there. And so that's the process. And then document everything that happened. Who'd you talk to? How are they doing it now? What was the feel? And when are you going to go back again?
Oh my God. This is everything. I hope y'all got out pen and paper, because I hope everybody's taking notes.
That's really what a lot of franchises do as well. I know Citywide, I went on their website, where I guess I was on social media, and I was strolling and I was looking at their content, where they had like a candy cane and a little cute little card. So these are the things that they use when they're doing door to door. You know, it's the same thing. They're just adding a little twist to it.
Gift.
You know what I mean?
Give them a gift.
A little gift to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but put effort. You have to do a lot of it, you guys, in order to really. And I love the fact that you said dream 1,000 clients. I love that, because sometimes, like, everybody is not your client, and that's a bar, because listen. my favorite clients, I would say, are the 5-day-a-week, 7-day-a-week clients. Like maybe restaurants, maybe like we got the news station. I love them. But the people that I don't want is maybe construction work, you know. But in the beginning, I would take anybody.
Yep.
I would go with anybody in the beginning just to
Yeah.
get the money.
But now
You know
and
what I
that's the nice thing is like the experience, you know, obviously sometimes you do have to touch the hot pan. I can't
Yeah.
just tell you it's hot. You got to touch it. And so once you have those kind of bad experiences or less than optimal, you can really hone in on what you don't want as a client. And for us, it's less about size. Like we have you know, once a month commercial accounts, a little guy we can tag onto a house cleaning day.
Yeah.
And then we have these giant accounts like and huge variety in between where it's 3 days a week or, you know, 2 days a week or something like that. And that's, again, we're rural. So like you got to keep that in mind when it comes to like the kind of businesses that are there.
Right.
However, it's much more about how difficult are they going to make our jobs of managing. If during that walkthrough, I'm getting a bad taste in my mouth, that's happened where I've done the walkthrough and I said, won't be providing a bid for you, you know, because I'm like, this lady's going to be a nightmare, you know, and like, I can just get that sense. So I'm not going to like, you know, I was thinking about this of like saying like, trust your gut. And I will say that to an extent, but also bounce it off other people too, because a lot of our guts are wounded and scarred and it may make poor judgment decisions on people, whether that be staffing because of whatever your experience is. So, but if your gut is screaming, like, oh, I don't know. And, you know, sometimes you do get burned when you don't have that experience. Somebody new comes in at the facility and now that's your point of contact. That's happened too. We're like, oh gosh, like this guy's way worse than, you know, just a bear or, especially like some of our like hardest accounts that we've like lost were like dentist office. And you know why? And this is not to insult anybody, but when you have specifically a lot of women together and they have time to like look around and like receptionists and things like that, they just start nitpicking anything and they're sending pictures of things that are not even there. And I've had my best cleaners in there and I know for a fact they do a good job. And I'm not saying they can't make mistakes, but it's like, you're so impossible to please. And we have such high quality standards. I know, like I've seen it myself. It's not dirty. And so that's just, I don't want to deal with people like that, where it's just like, I can't please you.
Those are the nightmare
We've let
clients.
plenty of clients go because the cleaners just felt like, listen, I can't do it. So if I've sent 4 cleaners to this lady and all of the cleaners are upset because the freaking washer and dryer is not working, or the lady might just have a bad attitude when it comes to speaking to the cleaners. We don't tolerate that. I don't care how much money she's paying if she doesn't respect my ladies.
100%.
And if they don't want to clean it, who's going to clean it? I'm not going to clean for it.
Exactly. And like that was our experience with a lot of Airbnbs. So I know I saw that for you guys, Airbnbs really took a dip during COVID. For us, it was the exact opposite. They exploded. I didn't have any. And then all of a sudden I had like 20 or 30 because people didn't want to stay in hotels in our area. And so people started buying vacation homes and calling us up and I was saying yes to all of them. Right. And then once the dust settled, now we've got all of these turnovers, which it is difficult to maneuver turnovers and regular residential cleans, right? Because how do you fit them together? So we really, now I would say we are the most picky with vacation rentals. So we actually dropped half of them because they did not fit our specifications of an ideal Airbnb. They didn't have laundry on site. They didn't have garbage on site. We're hauling garbage to our dumpster and our landlord's freaking out. Like, and so, but I was like, they wanted a property manager almost because, and so now we literally have a whole list of requirements that they have to meet in order to get us to service them. And we still may decide this doesn't make sense for us.
It's a lot with Airbnbs. I let a whole lot of Airbnbs go. I want to say about 19 of them this year, and I just let them go to my cleaners that were already cleaning them. And I just would rather not deal with some of the pain.
So much pain.
You know, it's a lot of it's a lot of nitpicking. It was a lot of issues with dryers and stuff not working. A lot of complaints. The ladies were complaining about stuff being stolen. And it just was like, damn, Airbnb.
Well, and that's the thing is like, it needs to be worth the hassle. And administratively, like there's so much more communication that needs to happen. And like, again, like we're so like, we're so honed in on how to clean a house and really nail it. But Airbnbs, some of the one that I'm thinking of in particular, it was a huge house, 16 beds type of stuff. I've cried there. My managers have cried there. My cleaners have cried there. And they're like, we want the green towels in this bathroom and the black towels and this total arbitrary BS. And we're like, if you're going to own a hotel, basically, you better run it like one. And they're not prepared to do that, or they have totally unrealistic expectations on what we can scalably provide.
And then the prices be low too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like the money was, it's like, so now for us, if we're not making at least 60 per man hour at an Airbnb, we're not doing it.
It's
like
not
they have the
cheap.
highest
It
price.
makes
Yep.
sense. It doesn't, and I mean, the prices are ridiculous because some of the Airbnbs we were cleaning, I think they were like $2,000 a night or something like that. They wanted to give us like 150.
For hours and hours of work and
like,
laundry.
Right. Oh my God.
Yes. It's like it's not even making sense. Every time we would try to raise the price, oh, it's too high. Girl, you making 15.
Raise your cleaning price. Like, that's put it back onto the customer or the guest.
Not only that, they want you to like do the errands for them. Like, I'm going to ship some things.
Restocking. Restocking.
Like, that's such a hassle. Like all the night.
Well, and then the cleaner has to check their notes before they go out, because a lot of times they're out in the boonies for us. Like, okay, it's like a 20-minute drive to a place with no reception, and you were supposed to grab that box from Amazon. Or you're supposed to grab the extra laundry, and now we're running it to the cleaner, and it's just like, I could just do a normal house for the same price. Why are we doing this? Like, make it make sense.
That is why I let a lot of them go, because I just don't need the extra. It's just so extra. And then when I look at my commercial accounts, it was funny because I just had a coaching call, and I coached somebody through my own pain that I was having. I didn't even realize it, but when I got off the call, I was like, "Damn!" She said, "You need to take your own advice."
Isn't that the truth? I'm so good at like telling people what to do, but then I don't
like, damn, who is my dream client? I said, I love the 5-day and 7-day a week. They never complain. We were like, we put a good person, a good sub in there, and they just handle the account. We never really hear about it.
It's just, and that's the thing. I don't like the phrase passive income when it comes to this business, because there's nothing passive about it. But it can get to a place where you get a good cleaner on there, and you got a good quality control system in place. And some of our big accounts, they're giving our cleaners vacuums, they're giving them gas cards, like cards and flowers. Like one of our library yesterday just gave one of their cleaner like flowers and a gift for custodian day. And like, so it's just like, when you get the good cleaner on there, it is very hands off, super hands off.
Very hands off, y'all. I mean, look at it. This is what is this, a Thursday, and it is, I don't even know what time it is. One. But I'm sure we all have cleaners in a location right now, running a cleaning company, and we're here doing the podcast interview. So it's definitely, it can happen. It can be a hands-off business, but somewhat.
And that's really like, that's a nice thing as you grow and start like bringing on other managers, staff, is really looking at like, what are yours? First off, what do you hate doing? For me, it was like doing the payroll every week, like calculating that. And
you do payroll every week.
Yep, we pay every Friday, because again, coming from me as a waitress, walking out with a wad of cash every day, I can't wait 2 weeks to get paid, and neither can my cleaners. And so again, what can you offer? Like, I had nothing to offer. I didn't have high pay. Okay, I could offer flexibility and weekly pay. Those were like, when I think of benefits in the beginning, that's what I could offer. And so we do it every Friday, which is great. So I just have to have it in by Thursday at 5. And so that works really well. But
that's good. So I've never done hourly before. Explain to me how your hourly process works. And do you ever experience, because I've always been scared of this, the cleaners just moving slow?
Oh yes, you asked, I think, Elena that, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk about this, because yes, I do have an answer for this. Okay, so I chose to go with hourly in the beginning because I did not want to get burned on flat rate. And I knew I didn't want to go see houses before. Like, we don't go do walkthroughs ahead of time. Obviously, that's and that pros and cons. But so the hourly felt like it would protect us if we walked into those types of situations where and so I didn't have the ability, like, I was overwhelmed at the thought of flat rate when I started, and I definitely am not now, but now we're just so stuck in hourly. So that will be, like I said, hopefully a revamp that we look at. So what we do is the cleaners know that the estimates we give are based on all of the data of the former, production rate audits. We know on average how fast we clean a first time, a move out, and a maintenance. We know our production rates because it's a math thing. Just go look at your old appointments and see how, and so we've honed that so well. So I know that a first time clean of a lived in home is going to be about 150 square foot per man hour. Maintenance clean of that same home, 600 to 700 square foot per man hour. So because I know my numbers, I can then give future customers, okay, 2,000 square foot home, this is going to be, I give them a 2-hour range. This is what we anticipate your home taking. And this is what the price is going to be. If we find when we get there or we start the cleaning that it's going to take longer, we'll communicate that with you and move forward there, because our cleaners are instructed that either right when they start or after they get done with the bathrooms and kitchen, they must check in with us. If they need more time, then we'll start that process and get that approval if needed, or leave off some areas. But anyway, I digress. Knowing that and communicating that to the cleaners literally from day one in orientation is that we are going off what we know to be reasonable production rates. So if this is what you are, we literally use the words approved man hours and we put that in the notes. They are not allowed to go over that without reaching out to us. And it could be, so caveat, if they're newer, they're going to be slower. However, after the first, so we give some leeway there that maybe, if they take half an hour longer than a typical cleaner in a new place, that's fine. We understand that. It is a process to get to that speed and quality. However, they will start getting, disciplinary measures, or maybe they need to get trained more, but we nip it in the bud immediately of whoa, why did that take an extra half an hour? It gets caught and called out right away. So they know that you're expected to get this whole home done in the 4-hour approved time. And if you don't, what we do is we have a quality policy that everybody signs ahead of time that is both about time and quality. So because I hated that I was the only one feeling the burn in my pocketbook when we had a complaint. I hated that. I was like, why is it that I paid you to do the cleaning? Now I got to go pay her to fix it. And I got a pissed off client who's hurting my reputation. So all of the time in managing this whole debacle, right? So we put a policy into place that if we get a complaint and you need to go back to fix her work and it takes you 2 hours to fix her work, you're getting docked for those 2 hours to minimum wage, which in Wisconsin is $7.25. And so that's very, very painful compared to $20 an hour. And so what you can do for if you pay percentage, dock them to a lower percentage, or maybe reward them if they get no complaints with a higher percentage pay. And so so that is really we don't get we get so few complaints because it's painful now. They need to have that financial buy-in a little bit too. And you need to have them sign that ahead of time. You can't do that. Just you can't withhold pay if they steal your kit, and unless all of these things need to be signed to. And that's why when somebody comes on with us, there's a million documents that they are expected to read and sign, because those were painful experiences that I learned from of okay, somebody stole your kit or this keeps happening, they don't return the kit. Okay, you will be getting your paycheck in paper at the office, and you have 24 hours to return the supplies, or it will be listed as stolen with the police department.
You guys, I hope that you're listening to everything that she is saying. Like I said before, I hope you guys have pen and paper writing down everything, because this is definitely a blueprint for your business. Slow down, you guys. Don't hurry up and get your business started. You make sure you start your business right. So with you saying that, what would you say to someone who's trying to start their business? Because YouTube University has so many speculations on how to start your business, and everybody's saying so many different things. But just the groundwork, what would you say to someone who's trying to start their business? What is the foundation of that?
Yeah, there is so much noise out there, which is wonderful, the plethora of information, but it's so overwhelming of what, you get this analysis paralysis of oh, what do I do here? So the basis obviously should be the financial stuff and doing things properly. Do not pay in cash. Do not get your money in cash. Okay. I know it's enticing. Pay your damn taxes, you know, like,
okay.
do it, because it's so hard to start not doing it. You start paying your cleaners cash, all of a sudden you want to be a legit, you know, payroll company. They're not going to want to pay their payroll tax. Like, oh, my paycheck's smaller than the cash, right? Like, so just start out doing it properly. Obviously, get the finances in order, business bank accounts, never like don't just be taking stuff out for personal.
Nope.
So the financial side of it is super important. Establish who your ideal buyer is. And that may change. Again, I started out fully thinking I'm only going to do residential. 2 months later, I'm walking through a 100,000 square foot facility. Things can change. However, why did that happen? I had a beautiful website, and that website showed me. And so how are you going to stand out from so much competition? Individual, established companies that have been here for 30 years and they've got 600 reviews. You know what they don't have? They don't have anything from the founder about their vision and why they care and their story. Because one of you has 5 kids, right?
That'll be me.
Yes. Okay. If I had 5 children, do you know what I'd be talking about all the time in my content to my residential, you know, clients and leads is why I can understand their struggle so much. And, you know, I don't have children, but I'm able to resonate with like the stress and shame of not having a clean space and feeling like it reflects on me as a woman. So I talk about that in my content. It resonates. So every single person watching has a story that nobody else has, you know, and even if it is similar, it's your voice, you know, and so use your voice. That will make you stand out among the masses more so, and especially franchises. Oftentimes, it's totally like nameless, faceless. They don't highlight their staff. They don't show a personality. Your brand has to have a personality.
Period.
That's right.
And so figure out what that looks like. Clean up your dang personal social media. Oh my gosh. Like, like some of this, like if I click on somebody who's a cleaner and I can see things I should not see. You know, like clean it up, because now if you're trying to pivot and be professional, people are going to look you up, right? They're gonna do it. They want to be able to trust and know. And so what are you going to be saying to them? You know, you have a split second to show them who you are. So what is that impression going to be? So
I've experienced that.
Do that right away. Absolutely.
We did an interview.
Who are you really?
We interviewed a young lady, and then, you know, we checked social media and stuff, and she was a totally different person online than she was when she came here.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh.
Well, like obviously same for anybody looking for a job. Obviously, we're going to look them up. That's our total right to do it. And if you seem like you're just combative and really trashing or everything's always somebody else's fault. You know, and obviously some people, like, we all go through very difficult life circumstances, but it's like, if, you know, okay, third core value, positive and grateful attitude.
Right.
That is serene, clean, family first, integrity, positive and grateful attitude. So it seems like every day sucks and it's always somebody else's fault, they're not going to take accountability. You know, so that is such a huge component of if somebody's going to be successful is you must take accountability immediate. Like, that's our big thing is we do not want excuses, and we do not want somebody who gets combative at constructive criticism, because that's a huge thing for us. Every week at our team meeting, Monday mornings, 8:15 team meeting, we talk about all the reviews. We talk about all the complaints we get anonymously. We don't say who got that complaint. And then we brainstorm and talk about it and how we can, as a group, collectively avoid this in the future. And then we talk about as well if us in the office made any mistakes, because that tells them, like, hey, like, they're not too big in their minds to say I messed up. I share all my mistakes, not all of them, but you know, the ones that, like, you know, I want to show my staff that I am humble. I will get in there and clean that dirty toilet right next to you. I do not see myself as above them. And, you know, it's just so important. And so coming back to the original question of like new person opening a business, have that website, build some momentum by doing those free cleanings, and choose a social media that your ideal and likely buyer is going to be on. I think just like we're not on TikTok. My people aren't buying things on like gonna hire at all. So why would I put all this effort and money into that? So we laser focused on Facebook, on it, and just like for years now have this like just really present Facebook page, and so that worked really well. And then just start doing some free cleanings. And I know you might be like, why would I do that for free? It's like the things you're going to learn from those free cleanings, as long as you use them, learn from them. And it's just so much less pressure too, if you're not really sure about cleaning yet. And have a cleaning checklist day one, I would say, and have, a scheduling software of some capacity from day one, because it makes you able to grow and take on opportunities like really easily. And, one of the biggest opportunities we had, I think, let's see, when was that? It would have been 3 years ago in August. I got a call and I was telling you about it before we hopped on the meeting, is it was a call to come down to Fort McCoy, which is our local military base about 10 minutes from our town, and to maybe clean some barracks. And I was like, oh, okay. So I drive out there, because I don't watch the news, so I didn't know what was about to happen, but thousands of Afghan refugees were about to be placed at Fort McCoy, and they need to be cleaned, fed, and clothed, all of these things, right? And so all of a sudden, I do the walkthrough, and I'm like, well, I think I can take on at least some of it. And at first they were like, it's going to be 80 buildings a day. Then they were like, it's going to be 200 buildings a day. And then at the top, it was 313 buildings twice a day between admin and barracks. And obviously so I was able to set that boundary right away of like, my normal business has to run. I, Stephanie, am comfortably managing like 30 people of my team. So I was one of the subcontractors for this company that got the military contract. And so how'd they find me? Google. And I was the one who called back. So it's like, I do think luck is, there are certain privileges absolutely that exist, but you set yourself up to be able to take opportunity and to even receive the opportunity. Absolutely. If I hadn't worked diligently for years getting Google reviews and having a good website, they never would have found me. So yeah, is it lucky that I got that $1 million project? No, it's not, because I had been, so I say all of this of, you don't know what's about to walk through the door. Right. You need to be ready to take on exciting opportunities. You don't want to have to be like, I don't have the capacity. I'd never done that before. Right. And obviously, the once in a lifetime thing. Right. And same with my first commercial account. Like, I was so intimidated doing that walkthrough. And I remember I was doing the walkthrough, and the guy was like, oh, where'd you go to school? And I was like, oh, Mel Min. He's like, what year did you graduate? Like, trying to get how old I was, because I looked so young. And they're like, oh, so have you done commercial before? And I was really skating around, because again, I just opened 2 months ago. And so I was like, yeah, I've done a manufacturing facility before. And I was like, I cleaned my parents. I didn't tell them that, but just to get my foot in the door. And I was like, I don't know. I was so overwhelmed by it. I put the bid together, totally overbid, because I had no idea how to bid commercial. And they said, well, what would it be for just the front rooms, the front offices? And so I was like, I give them a price. They took it. And so I got my foot in the door, and then over years they expanded it, and I got my bidding down, and it turned into like a really big facility for us for 5 years. And so all of these little wins, if you know who David Goggins is, he talks about having a cookie jar. So you need to have little cookies in your cookie jar that you can point to and say, I don't know how to do this, but I was able to do these hard things. And it starts to the business has completely transformed who I am as a person. 100%. The core of me is still there, but it's like, when I look back at that girl now, and then this woman who I am now, of just my ability to handle stress and everything about it, and as well as my vision and focus, and but the clarity is always there of like, why am I doing this? And what do I want to accomplish here? And that's not necessarily a certain number. I'm not going to be like, well, I want to be at this size or whatever. It's like, no, this is what I want to have that impact. And so I can do that in a variety of ways. And so figure out your why, use that, and use your voice and your marketing. You will stand out, because people, just like all of your viewers, can sense your guys' authenticity. You can't fake that. Right. There's a reason people connect to us, is because they know we're the real deal. They know we're not here just to teach you how to make a quick buck, and all these other YouTubers who it's just they're just so hard on the numbers. And though we're talking a lot about numbers, my love language is acts of service. I'm literally giving love out all day long through my business. It has 10x'd my ability to give love out, and so, our superpower, especially as women, our community is mostly women run. It's we are givers, we take care of people, we're nurturers, and like, don't be afraid to showcase that emotion in the context of a professional. You need to have the structure there, and that allows you to relax into the kind of that feminine energy. You know, if you don't have that masculine tracking numbers, if you don't have that down, your business is going to fail. But don't be afraid to show like, I am a woman and I care about these things, and like, there's strength in that. And don't be like, you don't need to be this girl boss. You don't need to be. It's like, it's okay to be soft, you know?
You know,
and everything else.
I'm glad that you said that, because when I first got here at Miss Johnson, like, my whole mentality was, oh, be this tough person. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. But I'm like, I started to lose myself, right? But then it's like, when you go and figure out what your why is, it's like, man, you can really 10x your business. Like, for real. As long as you, because I always tell people, it's about the transformation, not the transaction. You know what I mean? Because it's so huge to see the transformation in a lot of people. Like, I actually check on the clients. I know their dogs' names.
I saw a video where you were like almost having this long conversation with this woman. I don't know, she was having a hard time. And like that, I was just like, I cannot wait to speak to you guys, because it so connects. Like, when people are in tears about what you've done for them, we are changing people's lives. It's not just cleaning. And unless you feel that, we're not just cleaning, we're changing people's lives. And as the owner, as the founder, as the leader, your passion has to scream out of you. And so it's like, your job is to motivate and empower your staff and be like, we are going to war, and we're on a mission, right? And so if you can't do that, like, and I'm not saying I was necessarily like this, obviously, in the beginning, but it grows in you. It's like, you have to be able to pour into people, and this is an emotional thing. People think cleaning is just like a transaction, as you said. It is a transformation of like this. People are making this decision based on a lot of emotional factors, especially for residential. And so if you're just like cold, you know, you have to have that connection. And I have so many people who are like, you know, I saw your content, and I felt like I could reach out to you because you're not going to judge me. You know, I'm so ashamed. There's so much.
One lady said that too.
She did. And it's like, that's one of the reasons why I'm never worried about a contractor or employee stealing a client. Because to be in this position, we're leaders, right? You know, I'm not a natural born leader, but this it's like we had to grow into.
It's a muscle. It's a muscle that you grow.
That we're in. The people that we become, we had to grow into this, like, and we had to stick it out and toughen it out. And listen, I love to talk about the pain. I love to talk about the pain.
Well, it gives people realistic, because most small businesses fail. That is a fact. So like, if like it can be the worst job in the world, because at the end of the day, it's all on you. And so everybody else gets to clock in and clock out, but like, and also the social shame of like your business, you starting a business and then failing is so much worse than like a job not working out, right? It just is so emotional. So it's like, there is just so much at stake. And so like, if you are not willing to work harder than you ever, like, I didn't know what I was capable of until I started this business. Like, and even now I look back at that first year and I'm like, how the heck did I do that? I don't even know. Like, I'm like, I don't think I could do that now. I really don't.
You said that when she first moved to Savannah with me, she was like, how the hell were you doing all this without me here?
You just
doing this by yourself?
You just do.
I was literally sleeping in my office. Now that I look back at what I was doing, I can't even believe I was doing the stuff I was doing. Okay. Like, I'm like literally had nights, and I was up all night trying to figure out how to work programs. I'm literally doing everything. I'm wearing all the hats. And when she stepped in, she was like, how the hell were you doing all these things? And then I started adding YouTube on, and now you're adding more stuff to stuff that you got going on, running this whole business. And it was just like chaos. So she stepped in to be a partner and help me out.
That was like and that's, I was working, you know, full time at my parents. So everything was happening nights and weekends. I'd split up first time cleans over 2 nights or on the weekend. And so it was just these crazy long days. And then all the admin, doing that on top of physically cleaning and a full-time job. I'm like, I would never do that now, but like, I don't think I'm capable of it, but she was. And, you know, then one of my first part-time cleaners, because I only had part-timers for the first like year, right?
Mhm.
It's just, I'm a big fan of part-timers. It's kind of like an IC, I suppose, because you don't have to fill all of their time, I guess.
Exactly.
And so one of my part-timers who just started like 5 to 7 hours a week just doing Airbnbs and move outs, Crystal, she is now basically, you know, she's been with me the longest. She started in July, so 3 months after I opened. And a year later, she was like, hey, like, do you need some help in the office? Like, I'm considering like leaving my full-time job, because she was like an administrative person in the optometrist clinic. That's a tough one.
Okay.
So lots of administrative kind of like experience, super organized, everything that I lacked. Like, I'm not an organized person. And so,
Me neither.
so I was like, can you start today? Like, because I'm like, she was seeing it, and everybody in her life told her she was insane. Because it's like, here's this business that's, you know, just over a year old. We just, you know, COVID, all of that stuff. And so like you're crazy. But she trusted in me. She saw in me, I think, a lot, or in this opportunity, like what I was trying to do. And that's because it was so clear. Even little baby Stephanie, it was still clear that people had buy-in. And then along came April, my payroll manager. And, you know, I have staff now 4 and 5 years into this. And it's like, a lot have came and gone, you know, obviously those are the diamonds in the rough. And a lot of people, you know, you're part of their journey. And, you know, if you get so emotional every time somebody leaves, I really, this sounds like really like woo, but everybody's going to leave eventually, even if it's death. So it's like, I try not to like, I try not to get like, you can be upset for a minute, but if you wallow of like, oh, there was such a good cleaner, I'm never going to replace them. Like, there's that scarcity mindset coming through again. Your business should not be reliant on one person other than you know? And I don't mean to run the day-to-day, but it's like Serene Clean can run day-to-day without Stephanie, of course. But like, what I mean by that is like, if everything's banking on one cleaner, then something's wrong. And it may be painful, but it's like, looking back, every person that didn't work out, or like, truly, it's like, oh, thank goodness that didn't happen. Like I was so disappointed and upset in the moment, but then with the hindsight of like reflecting on it or on a situation or whatever, it's like there were so many lessons there. So just pause. It's like, and you may not be able to do that right now, but take that wallowing from a week. Now it's like 5 minutes. Like, dang it! Oh, she was good. Okay, next. Like that's what it needs to be. Like, that's how fast it needs to be. And that's where that immediate acceptance of your situation comes in. Is like, if you just can't get over things, you can't be in this business. You're going to be constantly disappointed. Like
look at McDonald's.
Okay,
McDonald's has been around since I was a little girl. Do you think the owner of McDonald's is sitting around saying, oh, we lost Susie? No. They flip out people like pancakes. You know, every time we walk in there, it's a different freaking employee. It's just business.
And you know, you don't, and I think when people hear that, they misconstrue us as seeing our people as like cogs in a machine, and that's the furthest thing from the case. It's really about, this is my mission and this is my boat, and I want people rowing the boat in the same direction. And if they are not rowing, or they're punching holes in the wall of your boat, you need to think of it as that severe and get rid of them immediately. Because I know we all get hung up on firing, and it's like, listen, like, this is your baby, and you need to take it that seriously and that insulting that, okay, they're trying to steal food from my children by doing what they're doing right now. And so it's like, when you have that mindset, it makes it very easy to make those decisions of like, okay, is this they need more training thing? Typically it's a character thing, like Elena said. And so it's like, if they have poor character in some way, believe it. If they show you that once, and they'll still surprise you, like, you know, whether stealing or I had an employee, I let an employee live with me in my apartment like the first year, and she still ghosted me. You know, I bought, you know, just, when you give, like, it shouldn't come with conditions, you know, just give. It's like, if you give money to somebody homeless on the street, you don't follow them to see if they go buy booze. This is, you're just giving. Don't allow people to like dampen that spark in you of giving. So it's like, just give without condition. And trust me when I say giving as like a core reason I have been so successful, it's just like, it's a part of the essence of Serene Clean, and like looking for as many opportunities to do that in a variety of ways, whether that be to the staff or to our community, like for COVID hit, we applied for the PPP, we got it, that grant, right? So we were able to cover our payroll because that was such a stressful thing.
Okay.
And so, but nobody wanted us in their houses. It was shut down basically for that first month. And so instead of just paying everybody to sit on their butts, I reached out to every small business in town and every church in town that was shut down and offered to come do a deep cleaning for free so that they were able to then come say, hey, we were fully professionally sanitized when they could open up. Okay,
Wow.
so no strings attached. I've got people, I can cover their payroll. Pay it forward. Why, like, let's do something good in a very challenging time, especially for other small businesses who are not so lucky as us. And so, though that had no strings attached, guess who years later still hears like, hey, you cleaned our church, you know, like years ago for free. We remember that.
Wow.
You know, people remember the things that you do for them. And again, they can sense if you're doing this in a shady way, you know, and they're much or you have an ulterior motive. And obviously the goal is to grow the business and get more accounts. But like, for example, we have a flyer that says, do you know there's a cleaning company in town that offers free cleanings for cancer, you know, patients, obviously cleaning for a reason. And we have a cleaning nomination. So anybody can nominate anybody else to get a free cleaning from us. It doesn't mean we're going to do it, but now, okay, I've got a couple hours here, can't fill it. Let's go do a free cleaning for somebody in the area. And so that's what it says. It has our contact information. It has nothing about selling. It is about our our giving initiatives. And it's like, that feels so much, people are so much more likely to spread that news because it's not like, oh, go buy from this company. It's like, oh, look at, you know, like this company does this. And obviously the side effect of that is like, so.
Wow, she just gave me an idea. We were trying to like sidebar, but we were trying to like keep it because we were inside of the community because we have like a community in Mighty Networks. And you just gave me an idea. Why don't we